the best of the week on Relevant Radio. This is Marriage Unhindered.
Oh, Monica's here.
Monica, guess what? Dr. Phil's on TV no more. You might have a TV spot pretty soon.
There you go. Yeah, well, no, if you want to, steal my job from me, I'll just go to the golf course. So.
Here's your host, Doug Hinderer.
Well, and Monica. Soon it'll be the Monica Hinderer Show with special guest Doug Hinderer, I think.
I don't know about that.
I'd be all right with that. I can live vicariously through my children.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back to Marriage Unhindered. Doug Hinderer here, licensed marriage and family therapist with daughter Monica, licensed professional clinical counselor. We had a caller that called in, didn't want to come on the show, which I fully understand, and God bless her for that. But her problem is not, unfortunately, unusual. So we thought we could talk about what she called in for. Sure. So here are the notes that I've got from Gavin on that. So here's what she said. My husband had a child out of wedlock, and he's 2 years old, and she found out about this a year ago. So this child was a year old before she found out that her husband, I don't know how long they've been married, but the child was a year old. So she's known about it for a year. The child's known 2. They talked to a priest about it, which is very good. They've gone to counseling, very good. But she said, I'm sick to my stomach and I can't do this anymore. I don't know how to get over this and stop dwelling on the past. Okay, let's see. Our family doesn't know, and it's affecting me physically. Oh, and they have 3 kids. Okay, they have 3 kids. Okay. Oh, in their 20s. Oh, so the kids, okay, so the kids are adults. They're in their 20s. So it sounds like she's holding on to this all by herself, and nobody knows, right? That's what I'm getting. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's the way it sounds. All right. So he obviously had an affair. So obviously they've been married for 20 plus years. He decided to have an affair that resulted in a child. Okay. So what we don't know is he supporting the child? Is he, what's that all about? Okay. But let's focus on the wife, right? Who now finds out there's this infidelity that's resulted in a human being being created. And she's sick to her stomach about it, which is pretty understandable as well. Right? So I have a lot of thoughts on it. So here's the deal. What he did was wrong. What he did was sinful. Out of his shame and guilt, he hid it from you. I mean, there's got to be some boundaries, right? But again, this child now, he's got this moral obligation to support this child and to financially, but also to help raise the child. I mean, I had a couple I worked with in this situation, and the husband felt an obligation to have this child be part of his life. And so he had custody, and he provided for he had some custody arrangement where he had the child at times. And by the time I got involved with the family, the child that resulted from the affair was in his 20s. And this kid, his picture was in the family Christmas photos that went around, right? So he acknowledged it publicly, and he said, here's what I did. Bad me, but I'm going to man up and own the responsibility for this and do my job as the father of this child.
Yeah, as you should.
Yeah. So I don't know what the situation is there. But
so obviously context really matters. But my first piece of advice would be that the wife goes to individual therapy to work on healing and processing, because it is really difficult. But I want to make myself abundantly clear. There's nothing you did or could have done to stop the cheating, and that it's not about you. And that's really, really, really hard for people, but particularly spouses, when you think your life is a particular way and then it's not, to not take it personally.
Yeah. But
that your husband has his own demons and sins, and that it says more about him and his wounds and his character than it says about you. And so, because even if you were the worst wife in the world, other men would just leave you, right? Yeah. He cheated, and that's a him thing. And so sometimes we have to go to therapy to help heal. And then knowing that all of the different emotions and feelings your heart is experiencing are completely valid, and that forgiveness is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It is
Correct.
not what that means. It doesn't mean he's allowed back in your life. It doesn't mean that there are not boundaries and rules and expectations.
Sounds like he's still in life, though. Sounds like they're still married and they're still,
sure,
from the outside, living a good life, right?
Well, sure, and that's going to come with like trust has to be rebuilt, and that's going to take time. I will say there's a really interesting couple that I would research if anyone is experiencing infidelity, particularly for the spouses who really thought they had one particular life and then realized suddenly it was all a lie. This couple, their name is Carl and Laura Lentz, Lentz, and he was actually a mega church pastor who was caught in significant scandal, and her whole world crumbled around her, and they worked really hard in therapy to heal. But part of the healing process for her was that he had to do the work to be a better man. And he had to go to therapy, and he had to go to rehab, and he had to do all of these things to own and acknowledge his issues. So they have this really interesting video on marriage and life and intimacy after infidelity and how to rebuild trust in a marriage. And so I think that people who can speak from experience are going to know so much more. So that might be a good resource for people to check out.
I think that's good. The other thing, too, I'd say is, and I think you need a marriage therapist to help you work through this, a Catholic one, because healing is possible from this. And I've worked with couples who have gone through infidelity and they've come out stronger because of it. The other way to look at this is from the Christian perspective. This may sound unfeeling or harsh, but you've been given a gift to practice forgiveness at a heroic level. And that is the whole reason Jesus Christ came down to this earth, was to show us how to forgive. And he could have redeemed us any way possible. He chose suffering to forgive us. He didn't eliminate suffering from our world. He taught us how to embrace it and to unite it with his cross. And so, as difficult as it is, you have an opportunity to practice forgiveness that few other people have an opportunity to practice. And that's hard. And that stinks. And I could put a lot of other adjectives on that. But it is what it is. And you can look at this as a gift to sanctify your suffering and to practice forgiveness. And the Forgiveness Institute has some worksheets that you could kind of help you process that and get to a place of forgiveness. But forgiveness for a Christian is not optional. Now, most of the time we have little things that we have to forgive, like you just forgot to bring the milk home from work or whatever. Sometimes we've got really big things to forgive, like infidelities and illegitimate children and losing money at the riverboat, at the casino, or getting a DUI. Sometimes there's big stuff. But forgiveness is not optional for us. And I think, to me, the scariest passage in all of the scriptures, right after our Lord, I think it's in Matthew's gospel, and the apostles say, teach us how to pray, and he gives us the Our Father, which says, forgive us as we forgive others. The very next line from him is, if you forgive others, your Heavenly Father will forgive you. If you do not, your Heavenly Father will not forgive you. That's really scary. But it also is this guarantee that if I want to get into heaven, now I know the road, and the road is through forgiveness. And you've got this terrible, wonderful opportunity to practice heroic forgiveness. And I think a good role model for what that looks like right now is Charlie Kirk's widow, who forgave the man who murdered her husband publicly. And there's lots of examples of heroic forgiveness in the world. And for some reason, God has invited this woman to join that club.
Yeah, and to be clear, I think forgiveness isn't just a statement. You don't just declare okay, fine, I forgive you. It's a movement of the heart. Forgiveness isn't approval. It's not reconciliation. It's not a lot of things that I think people confuse it to be. It's simply an unburdening of myself from what someone else put on me. You put the burden of infidelity on me, and I will not carry this. It corrodes our heart and our minds, and so we have to let that go. And one of the ways I think that can help with that is like just trying to understand his brokenness and these different wounds better, because it's hard to forgive if I think he's like an enemy or a villain, right? And he's the villain of my story. And so sometimes we have to take time. And this is why I'm saying go get professional help, because there are professionals who are going to help you be able to manage and wrestle. And part of forgiving is wrestling, and wrestle with God, wrestle with understanding that it's hard to understand. And so wrestle with that.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to know if they've done any counseling, if she's tried to talk to him about it, if he said something. I'd like to know what their conversation has been around this situation. And the couples I've worked with where there's been affairs, it's been important that they were in my office, because there was a lot of anger and tears and sorrow and sobs and crumpling onto the sofa, onto the chair.
Yep.
All of these really raw emotions that you just aren't going to be able to process without a professional that can help keep that safe while you're going through it.
So it's interesting. Gavin's writing that one of the questions is it loving to the wife to keep it from the family? She's suffering physically and losing weight because of the secret. So again, we've internalized this, which is why you need to go to therapy, right? Because we're grieving. You're grieving. It's a loss. And it's a particular type of loss. And so therapy will help with that. What I will say is that there cannot be reconciliation and healing through infidelity if your husband continues to live in shame. And what I'm seeing or what I'm hearing is that if he refuses to tell his other children or even acknowledge the life of this other child, there's a part of him that is still walking in shame. Yeah. There's a part of him that still refuses. And so and that's from the devil, right? We keep sin, and the devil wants us to say, shh, no one can know. Don't ever tell anybody. And it's not a pride of our sin, but it's a pride that like God can raise me through the sin, and the sin's no big deal. As soon as you acknowledge it and you work and you do the work, who cares? Move on. Let's go.
Get your dupa into the confessional.
We need
get
to keep
it
moving
up and
forward.
Move forward.
The devil wants us to say, no.
Yeah,
you're not forgivable. No one
this
can
is too
know
big.
this.
Right.
And so unless this husband is willing to own this, and one of the signs that I'm owning this and I'm no longer walking in shame is that I can talk about it.
Yep.
And it doesn't mean that it's comfortable, but I can talk about it.
And she should not have to carry this alone. No. Period. End of story, right? So Gavin's got another note here that they did retrovie and it saved their marriage. Good. Retrovie is a good start. Mm-hmm. It ain't the whole story, and it ain't especially in a situation like this. You got to come out of retrovie and keep doing a lot of really hard work, and you need a personal therapist to come out of that, right?
So what's actually so interesting is this couple that I just recommended everyone kind of look up, Carl and Laura Lentz. I was watching a YouTube video where he was saying that he talks openly with his children about his infidelity and all of the things that led to the infidelity. Because what he's able to do now, he could have looked at his sons and he could have said, look, pornography's bad. The devil will jump out at the screen and bite you in the face. You'll go to hell. Yeah. But now he can say, I know that it will lead you to paths that hurt people. Do you remember when mom was crying? Do you remember when we had to move? Do you remember? It's because I was doing bad things that was hurting me and hurting everyone else. And when you can meet your kids with a certain level of honesty, and when you don't look at sin with shame, there's a freedom that comes from that. And your children and people can learn and grow so much. And so, the kids are in their 20s. They can handle this to some degree. Yeah. And part of it is your husband will do more healing and the family can heal more if there's just honesty. Yeah.
Yes. So bottom line, you should not have to carry this alone. Your husband needs to be there with you to help you heal from the trauma this has caused you. You need some professional therapist who can help you get through all this. And this is real trauma for you with all of the stuff that comes with trauma, hypervigilance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you need help to do it. Yep. And your husband needs to sign on to do whatever he needs to do to help you get through this, right? So find a good trauma therapist, find somebody Gottman trained, find somebody trained in emotionally focused therapy. Go to catholictherapist.com or to catholicpsychotherapy.org. Mm-hmm. We'll put that in the show notes. Find someone who deals with this and get it healed and your life will be better. And you will be better when you get to a place of forgiveness. Your life will get infinitely better. It's going to be complicated and difficult. Yeah, that's life. Keep the end in mind. What's the end? The end goal is we're going to get each other into heaven. Our road is going to be a difficult one. Okay. Yeah, it is. But it is. So that's okay. The reward is eternal. God bless you. This entire episode of Marriage Unhindered is on the updated Relevant Radio app. The Relevant Radio app is completely free and updated daily with fresh articles, podcasts, and prayers.